Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, September 17th, 2018. Thank you so much for joining us this week. It's good to be back in Mountain View and back during the meeting. So thanks, everyone, for joining me. Friends of Mozilla for this week. We will get right down to it. Thanks to Pavel for helping us update the Firefox build system to work under Python 3 before Python 2 was retired in 2020. Pavel has made his very first contribution to Mozilla by adding compatibility for a Moz profile package. So a big thanks to Pavel for helping us stay current and keep our build system healthy. Thank you. All right, events this week. Tomorrow, we have our speaker series, which is actually going to be running out of the Mozilla Toronto office, as well as streamed live on Air Mozilla, and that's with Yuta, and that is a presentation on inclusive design and unlearning to include and innovate, and that is hosted by David Bolter and Tara Robinson, up in the Toronto office, and that's at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and then there will be questions and answers during the event. There's a Slack channel where that stuff happens, and you can read more about the talk. There's all kinds of helpful links on the wiki, and you should check it out. Tuesday, there's also the Homebrew Website Club in Baltimore. It's the Tuesday exception to the Wednesday rule, and that is at 6:30 p.m. and Eastern Daylight Time, and that's the Digital Harbor Foundation in Baltimore, so you can check that out. Otherwise, other Homebrew Website Club stuff is going on in Virtual EU London and the Mozilla San Francisco office, and in Seattle. There's links for all those meetups where you can check them out. It's a fun little meetup, and you should check it out. Also on Wednesday, we have the add-ons Good First Bugs Triage. The add-ons community has done a really fantastic job bringing in new contributors who have never contributed code to a Mozilla project ever before. And getting them contributing to Firefox in the Web Extensions department or directly to the add-ons website. And if you'd like to be part of the group that helps triage issues as they're filed to see which ones would make good first bugs for these new contributors, this is the meeting for you. And that starts at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Wednesday. There's a link with more info. Any other events sneaking onto the calendar? I don't see any, but that's okay, because we have a handful of speakers this week, starting off, of course, with Asa giving our Firefox update.
Thank you, Potch. Hello, everyone. Firefox 62 is our current stable release. 63 is in beta. There have been about 43 fixes uplifted to beta in the last week. 64 is in the nightly channel, and over the last week there have been about 420 fixes, including one I want to draw y'all's attention to. That is, web render has been enabled in a subset of nightly users on Windows 10 desktops with NVIDIA GPUs. If you don't meet the criteria, and about 17% do, so that means that 80+% don't, but you'd nevertheless like to try out web render on nightly, you can enable the About Config preference, GFX Web Render All, to true. This is an important milestone for a key performance feature in the Firefox roadmap. Congratulations to the Servo and Gecko teams. If you want to learn more about WebRender and browser engines in general, I highly recommend Lynn Clark's article, The Whole Web at Maximum FPS, How WebRender Gets Rid of Jank, on the Mozilla Hacks blog. That's it for this week. Thanks all.
Super cool. Thanks, Asa. All right. Next, actually, I'm going to unshare my screen because I believe we have a pre-recorded version of the Mozilla IT Minute, and so I'm going to unshare my screen and we can roll that pre-recorded edition.
This is, of course, the IT Minute, where we tell you all the things IT is doing to help power our mission to keep the internet a global public resource, open and accessible to all. I'm Andrew Krug from the InfoSec team. We now have Getting Started with MDC video trainings that can be accessed from the welcome message on the MDC homepage or from the left navigation bar. The target users of these videos are first-time users, as well as users who want to get familiarity with the general use of MDC. The training videos are very short and on specific topics that we think users would like to learn. This will be one of the mini series of MDC training videos. More to come. Please let us know any feedback on #Moz Data Collective so we can continuously keep improving the videos. Brown Bags coming up. Join us this Friday at 12 noon for the IT Brown Bags. This month's session is an open lightning talks forum open to all staff and NDA volunteers. We're looking for presenters currently who want to speak and teach about anything that might be of interest to fellow Mozillians. Sign up to talk here. And finally, a very special thank you from all of us to the team that worked so hard to make last week's closure of the data center in Santa Clara a smashing success. This represents the culmination of more than 2 years of work by individuals all across the organization. Just last week, 922 physical servers were decommissioned, along with about 200 virtual workloads. To close out this very special IT Minute, we have a few photos from that on-site shutdown. Once again, I'm Andrew Krug, and that's the Minute.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better, some have gone.
Good use of cutting that right to the fair use limit. Just a real quick FAQ. The MDC, by the way, stands for the Mozilla Data Collective. If you probably have a link to it in the SSO panel of your Mozilla account, and you can learn more about it, obviously, with the stuff linked in the wiki, or just by clicking around. Next up, thank you, Andrew. Next up, we have Joe Fish here at Mountain View giving our Emerging Technologies weekly update. Just to make sure I have the... Oh, let me reshare my screen. That would be useful.
Thank you very much, Podge. So we've got two exciting things to tell you. The first one is that we have a crew on site right now at the IBC show, which is the International Broadcasters Club? Consortium, probably? We did look it up, but it's not on the website, weirdly. All right, but they're there showing off AV1 and encouraging all the broadcasters and media people to start using AV1. There's an excellent photo, if you feel like clicking through, of us hanging out with some of our Alliance for Open Media partners, Bitmovin and Videolan. You may be able to see their VLC costumes. And just think about that next time you have Foxy Foxy comes to visit some event you're at. Just be glad it's not a parking cone, right? But all of this points towards a day in which we'll see high-quality, royalty-free video on the web coming to everywhere and coming to a browser near you. Second, as many of you might know, Firefox 62 launched on September 5th, and there are two particularly interesting features for those of you who are font and typography nerds like myself, and layout nerds. One of them is CSS shapes, one of them is CSS variable fonts, and we've got two blog posts up there from Dan and from Josh. CSS variable shapes lets you have objects in a page, then sort of wrap text nicely around them. CSS variable fonts lets you do interesting things with the fonts, so that you're not just limited to bold, to a particular font size, but lets you do things between those. They're kind of exciting. They're kind of fun to play with. I recommend checking those out. That's it. Thank you all very much. And back to the reality of Pot.
Thank you very much, Joe Fish. I'm going to real quick click this picture because I think it is worth seeing just for a moment. I don't know if we can get that. I'm not sure if that will load. There we go. I think that's really a sight to behold. All right, and next we have Eugene, the Open Innovation Team, coming to us from Massachusetts, talking about a Are You Human or Bot challenge.
Thank you, Coach. This morning, the Open Innovation Team launched an intra-Mozilla competition titled Are You Human or a Bot? The purpose of the competition is to identify characteristics distinguishing human and bot Firefox users. As many of you might know, bots represent a significant fraction of so-called dark funnel, a new user funnel with a source of acquisition not easily attributable to Mozilla.org. Unfortunately, the telemetry data that is currently collected doesn't provide a clear way to discriminate between human and bot users. And this obviously complicates the ultimate effort to increase the Firefox user retention. Some work to overcome the problem is being done by the recently formed dark funnel team. Adding to these efforts, we decided to harness the proverbial wisdom of crowd of all Mozillians by asking them to figure out how browsing behavior of humans could be different from that of bots. The competition is posted on Mana, and the corresponding link is included in the agenda. I also started a Slack channel.
1 second.
Yeah. Slack channel, human or bot, where all the questions regarding this competition could be asked. The competition will last for about a month, and obviously everyone at Mozilla is very welcome to participate. But today I want to encourage all of you to take part in the competition too. There will be prizes for the best contribution, but also keep in mind that by submitting a proposal to this competition, you make sure that you yourself are more likely human than a bot. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. All right. Hopefully we get to administer some Firefox profiles, the VoIP test. I think that would be very, very satisfying. All right. I think that is all of our presenters, but we do have a handful of introductions. I knew there were a handful in Toronto, so we can start there. I see people running for the podium there. So. You are muted presently, but hopefully we can hear you in a second. There we go.
Hi, this is Vicki Chin from Toronto. I'm the manager of the Firefox performance team, and I'd like to introduce Andrew Kresge. He's going to be working remote from Ottawa, which is kind of fairly close to Toronto, and he's going to be a staff performance engineer on the performance team. I'd also like to introduce Benjamin Dukoznik, who is in the San Francisco office. He's also part of the performance team, and he's also going to be based in the San Francisco office. So welcome.
Welcome. Oh, go ahead.
Are we good?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I want to introduce Ashley Thomas to our mobile Android team. She will be product managing our Amazon browsers. She is here in Toronto this week, but she will be working from the Vancouver office. And she comes from Mobilify, which is a mobile shopping platform. She was doing lots of mobile. She knows lots about browsers. So I'm very happy for her to join the team.
Wonderful. Welcome. And I see the folks in San Francisco know their cue, and they are getting up to do their intro. Hello.
Hello. I'm Jonathan Corn. I work on Pocket here, and I'm here to introduce Matt Cooper, who's joining Pocket on the data and learning team as a staff engineer, and he'll be working out of the Pocket offices in San Francisco. So, thank you.
There we go. Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Welcome. All right. And with that, I think we are all finished for this week. Welcome to all the new Mozillians. Hope people check out some of the stuff we talked about today, and I hope you have a great week and you keep on rocking the free web. See ya.